Okay, this next song is it's an old pop written in 1960 by Floyd Kramer, a piano instrumental called Last Date. And his style of a piano was known as Slipknot style, which I was going to look up and I didn't, so I don't know what it means. You'll have to ask Grant back in the desk there yesterday. But played very beautiful piano, and so I kind of made this arrangement to suit that, and got some really nice single note stuff in it and some lever work, pedal work. I keep saying they're fun to play, and they are all fun to play. I just love playing all these songs, and especially if I can get somebody to listen. One called Last Date. Thank you. Any more questions?
You're familiar with a one knee, three pedal. Are you literally starting over on more pedals, more knees? Is it a whole other learning curve?
No, you can play everything I play here on three pedals, but you will need another lever. The lever you got will be lowering your E's, which is what you need to have, but we also need to raise the E's to an F. So we have another lever that does that. So if you and it's easy to do to put another lever on. And once you have 2 levers and two pedals, you can play pretty everything I'm playing today. The reason being to raise the Fs is because it gives you another major chord. If we're on a G major chord on fret 3, we can go up 3 frets and add the F lever and the A pedal, and that gives us that same major chord again. And we can go up and add A and B pedal and gives us that same major again, and so on. So you have 8 or 10 different places where you can play that G major chord. Without that F lever, it just limits you to sliding from here to here. So you can't get all that nice chromatic stuff in going on. But it's not hard to put that F lever on. And it's a must, because you'll be looking for it before very long. It's one you need. But 2 pedals and 2 levers will play most what I play, unless I get showing off and then my guns jam. But that's the mainstay. This is any more questions?
Yeah.
This one is it's called steel guitar rag. What else? As soon as you sit down to a steel guitar, that's the first question anybody asks you. Can you play steel guitar rag? Well, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I have my own version of it here, and I work some more C6 stuff in to just kind of make it different in the bridge part of it, and it uses some bar hammer-ons, bullet nose hammer-ons, on the high strings and some low strings. And in the third verse, I'm using a hammer-on. I'm using strings 3 and 4, but I'm only hammering on strings 4, and it kind of a high drone. So it's just a little something to fool around with. So just gives it a little bit of spice in there. Thank you, and that's another one of those songs that you can just do a million things you want with it and have fun doing it. It's a must learn though. If you if you're going to sit at the steel guitar, you have to know how to play it. So everybody will ask for it.
Change your string.
Very important.
How often?
Depends how much you play. I change mine about every 20 hours of playing. If I'm going to go to an important, like a show where we're going to be mic'd and got to have good sound, I'll put new strings on a day or so before the show, stretch them into place. It used to be the problem, steel guitars used to have a problem of breaking the third string. And my old guitar used to break that string about every 10 hours. In fact, I changed it one night before the song was over and had it tuned back up before the song was over. So you get used to changing it when they break. But about every 20 hours I change and try and keep them clean, keep the sweat from your hands off them. Wipe them when you're done, because it'll corrode them quicker than anything, and they just go muddy, dead right away, especially the wound strings. So, and there's many different, it all depends on your ear preference, what kind you use. There's nickel and there's stainless steel and just straight steel ones, and stainless steel ones are quite bright. Nickel have more mid-range in them than a stainless steel one, and the steel ones don't hardly last. The corrosion gets them before very long. So, but and the stainless steel and the nickel and the steel are just on the wound strings. They're just the winding on the wound strings. The rest, there are heat treated strings and cryogenic treated strings. I have cryogenic strings on this right now, trying them out. Their cryogenic is treated with frost rather than heat. And I haven't really heard a lot of difference yet, but they sound good. I mean, I like the sound of them. They're okay. So yeah, it's just if you're playing a lot, change them a lot is a good method. And if you keep them wiped clean, there's not very much that you can put on them to clean them. I haven't found anything yet that you can put on them to clean them, but I did see a guy one time that tuned it down and then he'd pick it up here and he'd snap it on the neck and that the dirt would fly out of it and he'd tighten it back up and away he'd go again. But but I don't recommend that either. So yeah, just, you know, usually whatever you can afford for strings, but do it often so you keep your clean tone. Yeah, a lot, yeah. Like driving a Willys Jeep and a Cadillac, you know. The tolerances in the professional model ones are so tight that everything is smooth, and they have extra compensator springs in underneath the bridge here now too, that in under the changer, that compensates when you pull on the spring. There's a spring that pulls it back, but there's also another one to react against that string that pulls it back, so it keeps everything kind of floating in there, so it kind of plays like butter rather than in and out. It makes it a lot smoother, a lot nicer to play. They're making changes like that all the time on the new ones, but making progress too, because the new ones are a lot easier to play, really. The student model ones are, of course, there's not near the money or time put into them, so the mechanics are not as good. To get your knee levers working, you have to travel twice as far and things like that, you know. That they can be set up pretty good though. If you spend some time, you can set them up and learn them. But if you are looking at a student model, and just make sure that it has 2 levers that run the E chord, E strings, so you can raise it to F and lower it to E flat. That's one of the mainstays that you have to have. It's always been my advice to buy as much as you can afford to buy. If it's a used professional model rather than a student model, you know, I would certainly pick the used professional model if it's the same price, because you'll find yourself with a student model that you'll be looking for the professional model not very far down the road.